If you clicked on this video, you either have your concealed, you're thinking about getting your concealed, or you are carrying at this point in time. This is 10 concealed carry secrets that most gun owners learn about when it's too late. Carrying a concealed weapons firearm isn't about slapping a holster on and heading out the door. It's about responsibility, it's about preparation, it's about mindset. Too many people get their permit, pick their gun, get their holster, and just assume they're ready. You need to make sure you have the ability to work through any kind of high stress, adrenaline dumping situation. In this video, we're going to discuss 10 of the most popular things I think gun owners learn way too late. We need to make sure that we have all the knowledge we need because in a high stress situation, we're not going to be thinking about is this right? Is that right? Did I do this right? We just got to run by a muscle memory effect, and all the muscle memory effect has to be there, and we have to do it on a regular basis. Unfortunately, guys, there's not a lot of places that you can go and shoot and draw from your holster. I'm a gun range. We don't allow it in our store unless I'm back there with them working through a class. So being able to draw from the holster is something that you're going to need to practice on a regular basis. Carrying from concealment, carrying extra magazines, knowing what the effects are going to be if we use your weapon in line of defense. We need to think about all this stuff before we do it, because once we've done it, we're in a lot worse situation. So here is the 10 concealed carry secrets that most gun owners learn way too late. So number one would get would be to get the right holster. Why the right holster matters because a cheap piece of crap or poorly fitting holster can be dangerous and uncomfortable. And if it's uncomfortable, you're not going to carry on a regular basis. Here's my tip: choose one that covers the trigger, holds the firearm securely, and allows you to smoothly draw it out of the holster and be able to reholster it without having any kind of uh, malfunctions. One of the most important things, if you heard me correctly, is covering that trigger guard as much as possible. The right holster will cover the trigger guard and make it safe for you to have a loaded gun in your holster. So many people decide they're going to load their gun when they need it, which is kind of silly if you think about it. The weapon should be loaded to save your life. Number two is carry with the gun you train with. So many people come into the range and are shooting this gun and that gun or this gun, and they're not training with the gun they're going to carry. Why does this matter? Because switching between firearms can confuse muscle memory in a high stress situation. My tip is stick to one platform, train regularly with it, both live firing and dry firing, and get yourself super comfortable with the gun that you plan to carry on a regular basis. Number three is we need to dress appropriately. This means dressing around the gun. If you're going to carry IW outside the waist, or inside the waist, you need to make sure that that gun does not print or that gun does not show, or you've got the proper shirt on that's going to cover it when you sit down or you stand up or you reach up to grab something. You want to make sure that gun does not show. Not for legal purposes as much, because Florida has accidental display and incidental display, bending over, tying your shoe, reaching up and getting a can of beans. That's not against the law in Florida. It's just not smart. We're getting our concealed carry for at a tactical advantage. And when we're showing our weapon or we're printing, and printing is the outline of the shirt, outline of the gun through the shirt, we put ourselves in a weird position. When a bad guy sees a firearm, they don't see a they don't see a what I would consider a law-abiding citizen with their concealed carry. They just see monetary amount of money. Now, Karens and Kins out there, when they see a firearm to them equals bad guy. So you just want to make sure that you're not carrying that your gun will show. My tip is to use layers, loosen clothing, patterns or plaids or any kind of thing will hide outlines. Consider appendix carry if you're thin enough. 4 o'clock to 3 o'clock is a good place to be. Stay out of mid back as much as possible. There's no way to draw a pistol mid back and not cross your body. So from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, if you're right handed, those are good areas. And you could appendix carry as well, which is something that a lot of thinner guys do. Number 4 is to check your gear daily. I will tell you one of the most important things to do is to verify that everything is working good. A loosened screw, a piece of something inside the trigger well for some mistake or ever, it could physically happen. I know a buddy of mine who carried a leather holster. He loved leather holsters, but he carried a leather holster until it was almost dead. And him and his wife got in the car one time, and when he put his pistol back into his leather holster from the night, he slipped it in, and the lip of the leather got into the trigger well. And when he sat down, the gun went off. Now, it didn't hit him, it went through the chair of the car and scared the crap out of both of them, but he got rid of that holster immediately. And I'd been telling him for that holster's done, dude. You need to get rid of it. It's an old leather holster that had been sweat in, nasty in, and it just was real stiff. And stiff and leather don't mix because it got in the trigger well and he didn't realize it. He was very lucky he did not. He burnt his ass. That thing went off and burned his jeans, but it did not fire at him. It did not hit him. He was lucky. So check your gear on a regular basis. Do your daily checks with your firearm, your holster, your retention, your magazine, your belt to ensure they are all secure because belts can wear as well, guys. One of the things I'll give you here's a little tip. If you are wearing a belt, it takes most of the weight off the firearm and you don't even realize you're carrying it at that point in time. A good tactical belt, something thick, something not a dress belt, but something that's going to give you a little bit of thickness to it. You can hold it up like this and it stays straight. That's a thick enough belt. I always tell people you can't afford a good belt, go over to Walmart and get one of the Levi double stitched leather belts. Those work really well and pretty economical. Number 5 is don't touch it. Leave it alone. You don't need to reach down and feel it all the time. I was guilty of it, and so a lot of people are. I can walk around town and tell everyone who's carrying because they always reach up and adjust it. Now you need to pay attention to make sure your shirt's out of it. Pull your shirt each time, feel it out. Ask your significant other, am I printing? Am I showing? Everything else like that. But consistently checking or adjusting your firearm can alert others, whether it be good guy or bad guy, that you're carrying, and you don't want to do that at all. So leave it alone, don't touch it. If something feels off, find a private place, restroom, private room, and discreetly fix it. Now, I will tell you if something feels wrong, go fix it. Don't worry about it because at that point in time, you're better off to fix it than have it fall out or do something similar and cause you some issues or embarrassments, right? And make sure that you're always got it covered. In Florida, the weapon must be concealed, and concealed defined as on or about your body, hidden out of ordinary sight. If you have your concealed carry and gun is showing, you are breaking the law if you're carrying like that. Incidental, accidental, not. But if you're actually walking around carrying, I've seen people do it because they think consensual carry means open carry. And you find out very quickly that you can't say, I didn't know. And that's kind of one of the number 6, you need to practice your draw from concealment. And this is something that people just don't do. They just assume they're gonna have time. They're just assume the bad guy's gonna tip them on the shoulder and go, 15 minutes from now, you be ready because I'm gonna rob you. You need to get the where the whole you gotta get the gun out. You gotta remove your garment from the holster, draw the weapon, get it turned towards the bad guy, and do all that stuff in a timely manner. Now, the easiest way to do this is through dry firing. You can actually go to one of the rooms, make sure the weapon, your holster, no magazine, no gun bag, none of that stuff's in the room. So then you just practice it slowly, practice it slowly. I can give you a tip of all tips. We always want to make sure that our draw hand elbow is back. On my YouTube channel, there is a full class I did with a 75-year-old man, and we went through the whole draw stroke. It's a good video for you to understand concealment and draw stroke. Draw stroke is something we need to learn because technically we don't need to be a full extension to shoot that pistol. We can shoot the pistol at short distance. So close quarter combats, you need to be able to get that gun out. As long as your gun's out of the holster, then you can put your elbow back and cant it just a little bit. That would be your first shot. And we need to get it to that level. You need to get it out of the holster and turn towards the bad guy, and then you need to present it towards the bad guy. Those two things could be practiced. You can practice to present, and you can practice the pull and elbow back and put those together. You get a pretty good system. Reach up your left hand. The great thing about this, if you're right handed, reach up your left hand to pull your shirt up. That keeps your left hand away from the firearm and more in the center of your chest. And then when you turn that gun sideways, you get that first shot at close quarter combat. And then the second shot would be mid, and third shot would be full extension. And that's done in the course itself. We practice that an awful lot here with we do tack classes and things like that. Learning the proper draw stroke is going to make it easier for you when shit hits the fan. Drawing from concealment is very different than open range training. There's a big difference there. It puts a high stress on us. Using daily dry firing practices at home with your daily carry setup to build real world skills. Here's a tip for you too. I would recommend you go get a blowback airsoft in the gun that you are shooting. This can be done in your garage. Put up a sheet, put up a 5-gallon bucket, draw, click, bang, and you get the whole effect. The slide goes back and all that stuff. They're not cheap, but 150 or so, but it gives you another way to train at home without spending ammo money. And it just takes you to the next level. It'll fit in your holster because your original gun fits in your holster. And they make them in all kinds of different stuff. But it gives you the ability to get that shot and pull the trigger and get the slide coming back. Pretty cool. And it's not going to cause any kind of lethal situation in your garage because the sheet will stop the little plastic pellet. And if you put those sheet all into the bucket itself, they collect by themselves as well. Number 7 is have a legal game plan. Listen, you're carrying a weapon for your protection and for your loved ones. But there could be times where you may have to, after using this weapon, go downtown, and you do never want to go downtown by yourself. You need to have some legal representation. There are a lot of companies in the world today that have what's considered concealed carry insurance. We are United States Concealed Carry Association trainers, and we use the USCCA here. In the link below, if you'd like to get a free gift from them and learn a little bit more about USCCA, it'll be in the link below. I highly recommend them because what they do is they represent you in a critical defense situation. They tell you, make sure you get to a safe environment. Make sure you call 911 first. And then after 911, what you need to do is you need to contact the USCCA. And they tell you a very, very positive thing. Remember, you just shot a gun on low light conditions, let's just say, and you shot a gun with no earmuffs on. and your heart rate's running about 150, 160 beats a minute, you should not be talking to a cop in any situation like that. So, what USCCA says to do is to let them know that you were the victim, that you will cooperate with them as long as you're in presence of your attorney. The USCCA not only gives you the stroke bond to get out, it gives you civil, it covers all 50 states, it covers $10,000 incidental expenses. It covers lost earnings. It has a mobile reciprocity app. It has a lot of stuff that you guys need as carriers because when you have a Florida permit, you're going to be able to carry in 36 states if you're a Florida resident. And if you're not a Florida resident, Florida allows non residents to carry in 30, and there's 30 states that recognize. That's why we always recommend if you're from another state and you don't have your Florida permit, it's the best one to get because it gives you protection through 30 states. And you're most vulnerable in three places, right? Your home, your car, your hotel room. And that's when most likely happens when you're traveling. And you could have a son who is an attorney in whatever state, but if he's not licensed in the state you have the problem in, he's not going to be able to help you guys. So I think it's imperative that you have protection at all times. And looking at the USCCA, because I could use any of them. They all court us basically. They always say, "Hey, come see us. This is what we want to sell you, or this is what we want you to recommend." But it is something I recommend. It's there. But the insurance companies, like everything else, they don't cover everybody. You'll see some bad stuff about them, but there's mostly good stuff about them. So that's part of the deal. Very simple. For less than a 2 cheeseburgers and a Coke, you can get this thing done, pretty good with them. McDonald's used to be cheap, but now my wife and I went last night. It was $37 and USCC is 35 uh, a month. And if you're married, the spouse gets second off. So kind of check it out. I think it's something you need to think about. If you're going to carry, you better have protection. You're carrying for protection, but what about your assets? What about your freedom? You need to protect that as well. Firearm can't do that. USCCA can. So if you want to join or find out more, click the link down below and it'll get you your free book from them, which talks about why the USCC is what it is, and then I will get a little bit of a thank you from them. They give me $5 every time that you click the link. Just heads up. All right, number 8 is carry extra magazines. This is not being done an awful lot. I'll tell you, it's a system, right? When you Here's what happens. Okay, I decide to get my concealed carries. Natural, everyone wants to carry a Glock 19, most popular pistol in the world. Once they buy the 19 and they shoot and they start carrying, they realize, holy shit, this thing's heavy. And I'm not going to be able to carry it. And what happens when it becomes uncomfortable? What do? You don't carry. So and then when we carry, we have the extra magazines, we do all this stuff, and then you realize for 6 years you've been carrying this gun and never had to use it. Then naturally it becomes you carry every once in a while, and then naturally you never carry, and now you wish you had the gun when it's time. But the extra magazine thing is never done, never happens, and everything else like that. So the extra magazine is not for extra rounds. Malfunctions often require a mag swap, and this is why I kinda extra mag it's not about I have 19 rounds in the gun. If I gotta do a mag drop and 19 rounds, I'm in the wrong gunfight. You're probably right. But technically, most of your malfunctions, we gotta get that magazine out, and we take the magazine out because it's malfunction. We have not another magazine with us. We have a problem. So carrying an extra magazine makes all the sense in the world when you put it out like that. Tips: use a slim pouch or pocket carry. Even an extra 6 to 8 rounds can make a difference. What I'd recommend is if you are going to carry a magazine in your pocket, like a pocket knife, you need to check it once in a while to make sure it's not lint laden. What happens is those mags sometimes stick in your pocket. You can do a pouch on your belt and all that stuff, but then it starts getting a little bit, what's going on here? I'm trying to carry and I got all this stuff and I'm sitting in the car and blah, blah, blah. But what happens when you put a magazine in your pocket, you get a lot of lint in your pocket from your pocket and from the laundry and all that stuff and dirt. and that can malfunction the gun as well. So, if you're going to carry an extra magazine, make sure you put it in something that you can grab a hold of, and make sure you put it in your pocket where it goes up in the gun. If you put the magazine upside down, you reach in your pocket to grab it, you're going to be grabbing the magazine upside down. We need to make sure the magazine comes up and into the firearm, up and into the firearm. So when you put the magazine down, bullet down, when you pull it out of your pocket, it's going to go up in the gun. All right. So number 9 is knowing the laws wherever you go. Now, this is important, guys, because technically in Florida, a lot of the gun laws are dramatically different between where you can and where you can't. And because we're able to carry, because of reciprocity, multiple different states, the gun laws can be very dramatically by state to state and city by city. So you need to make sure that you have those rules and regulations the best way you can. And I think reason why I like the USCCA as much as possible, you can go into the USCCA and they have a mobile reciprocity app for members. And you can actually look at where the gun has to be, what has to be, what do you have to do to the cop? What do you have to tell them, not tell them, all the processes like that. Florida doesn't have a duty to tell, but there's many states that do. Duty to tell means when you get stopped by a cop, you have to tell them before they ask you. Ask you what? Do you have a weapon on you? But Florida, it's assumption you have a weapon on you, not a cops just assume because our car is an extension of our home and we're allowed to have a weapon in our car. And once you're out of state and you have a Florida plate on your car, that does not say Sunshine State on there. It says Gunshine State on there because of our gun laws being so super friendly here that we are allowed way before they had permitless carry. Our car was an extension of our home and we were allowed to have a weapon in it without a permit, without a license, as long as that weapon was securely encased. And the securely encased is defined as glove box, center console, snap holster, zip gun bag, box the gun came in, or anything else. Lid has to be removed before the fire can be shot. That was legal in Florida and still is. So that's kind of one of those deals. It's just an assumption there's guns in every car in Florida. And then when you go out of state with a Florida plate, it's an assumption you have a gun on you. You're a crazy ass redneck with a gun. So use the app. You can check out Handgun Law US before you travel. Make sure you understand the rules and regulations of every state because they do change. The example would be Georgia, our closest state to us, has a duty to tell. If that cop asks you, "Do you have a gun on you?" before you tell him, well, guess what you just did? You broke the law because you must tell him before he asks you. Now, in Florida, we don't have that. It's not required, but I highly recommend you always tell him you have a gun on you. So understanding the laws wherever you go is a very important thing. Because some guns, like in Florida, our guns can be loaded in our car, ready to go, hot and rock, right? Some places have a two-step rule, a three-step rule. Uh, Magazine can't be anywhere near the gun can't be loaded. Our car is extension of our home, and we can protect ourselves with it. And you can't protect yourself without a loaded firearm. That's why we always joke a kid, welcome to the Sunshine State. I think I have that shirt on. Yeah. Welcome to the Gunshine State is what it says on my shirt. Welcome to the Gunshine State. All right. Number 10 is mindset over firepower. The situational awareness can help avoid deadly encounters altogether. Last thing we want to do is use the firearm. Last thing we want is not to be prepared to use the firearm. And we can't go to the firearm if we're not prepared, thinking it's going to get us out of this situation. Because sooner or later, someone's going to call your bluff. So, situational awareness is more important than anything else. Those things underneath your ankles are more important than anything else. Walking away, running away is a lot easier than pulling a firearm and getting into a deadly situation, because you're going to be held to a higher standard because you have your concealed carry license, because you went through a class, because you seem to know better because you went through the class. Everyone's held to a standard, but someone who's done the education should know better that your last option is the firearm, not your first option. Your first option is to evade, escape, or engage. Evade, escape, or engage. And engage is always going to be last, not first. All right. The tip I'd give you is keep your head on a swivel. Avoid risky situations. Avoid risky situations and know your carry gun is your last resort tool, not a solution for every problem. It's not a solution for every problem. Carrying a firearm is more than a right, it's a daily commitment, it's a responsibility, it's an awareness, it's consistent improvements. These tips weren't just tricks, they were reminders that what you do before the moment matters. Even if one of these made it pause and make you think, then you're on the right track. Keep training, keep learning, and never fall into a trap of thinking you've got it all figured out. Guys, as a firearms instructor who supports you on a regular basis with videos like this, with Tuesday night lives, with our handgun training systems, with our master classes, with our ebooks, I'm here for you. Guys, as a firearms instructor who my job is to support you as much as possible, I started this channel to motivate, educate, and entertain. And if we put together a lot of different stuff to work with you guys throughout the United States, like the masterclass, which is an online webinar we do once a month that gives you the ability to understand your firearm and get to the point of being the best you can. We have the handgun training system, which allows you to work with me on a weekly basis and get a drill a week that I send you to the range and work on. It's like having your own personal handgun training instructor in your pocket or in your phone that allows you to have that accountability and the real world feedback for me to make you become more accurate, more confident, both on the range and in real life. So, cool thing is, in all those classes and things are on our YouTube channel. They're there and they are in the links below as well. And don't forget about our ebooks. We have our ebooks and they can be added to the cart down below. What the ebook's about, they're about grip and stance and trigger control and sight picture and sight alignment. And every time you upload one of those videos, you're supporting a family owned business. Now, I want to give you one for free if you haven't got one yet. If you haven't got one of our free ebooks, go ahead and pick the book you think you're going to need the most. Go ahead and put that in the cart and put free book. And that's yours for free, gratis, no cost. Use it, love it. I hope you read it and it gets you something. But if you want to support a family owned business like us by adding couple more to the cart, it would not hurt my feelings at all. Those books are normally $3.99. We got them for $2.99, and that's a small price to pay to support a family-owned business, and it's going to give you the education you need to become the best shooter you can be. Well, my name's John Johnson, and I'm a firearms instructor, and I specialize in you. And keep shooting and keep training with a purpose. Until next time, God bless. Be safe. I love you. Bye bye.